All right, welcome back. It's been a while since I've been able to put out a video. We've had some severe storms up here in the Northwest, one of the biggest winter storms that they've ever had in this area, and we were without power for about a week and a half with the resulting snow and ice that formed. Had tree limbs falling all over the property. In fact, my shop, tree limb crashed through the roof and made a hole, and actually got my plants all soaking wet. Finally able to get those recovered and dry them out, and they're fine, but I ended up going and buying one of the zip drives that Van sells with all of their plans, just in case. So I just finished all of my parts inventorying for the Fuselage kit. There's several pieces that are on back order, and Vans will obviously let me know when those are ready for pickup when they got all of those. And they only had a few items that were missing, some small bags of various nut plates and things like that. But for the most part, I have everything that I need. I'm going to go ahead and try to see what I can get started with. This first section is the bulkheads, and so we'll start that process and see if I have everything I need for this. So here we go.
And with that, I couldn't just start off without showing a little bit of the unpacking process. Now, I picked this up, I want to say it was February 10th, so it's been a little over a month now, and going through this, it's, as I talked about, there's some parts that are missing that are on back order. The parts that were missing that were supposed to be there was easy to get. Called them up, and they had them ready for me in just an hour or two. That's the fortunate thing with where I am now, in that I can just drive down there and pick things up. That's a huge benefit from where I was before in Phoenix. It would take a few days for anything to get there, and oftentimes the packing price and the shipping price would be more than the part itself, and so you have to kind of plan that and coordinate that and make sure that you're ordering enough to where the shipping cost isn't just ridiculous part of the expense. So just going through all the parts, pulling out everything, just verifying, just like you do in the other two kits that you had gotten to this point, the wing kit and the tail cone. So, like I said, most part, everything was there that was supposed to be there. The things that weren't big items, and so it went really well. But finally, with all of that, I was finally able to start getting to work on the fuselage again, and that was the great part of all of this. So here I'm starting to do the first steps, which is to work on the bulkheads. In particular, this part here attaches to the aft bulkhead, and it makes up the aft point, or the aft attach point for the wings. Everything is the same as you always do, a lot of prep work. The key to all of this, as I've said before, and you've heard from others, I'm sure, is trying to inventory and then put everything in a location to where you will be able to find it. Even now, it's just so many parts. I'm finding that I'm having a hard time just trying to locate a lot of the things that came in this kit. And so I've got to get back into a system of where I had it sectionalized by sub-kits, or these parts are going to go together. But also what I've been doing now that I've gotten back into the fuselage here is at the very beginning, when the very first page of a chapter is just that diagram, I'm looking at that and just pulling all the parts that I can. So I'm spending that first part, getting all the parts, put them together in a section on my shelving. That way it's a little easier as I'm going through. Also, I'm doing a lot more of the prep work ahead of time. A lot of the painting, I've been using that SEM self-etching primer, and so I'm giving it more time to set up. And so that's what I'm doing, kind of grab everything, put it together, and then grab all the things that I want to prime and get that done right away. I think on the fuselage kit, I'm going to be doing quite a bit more prime painting than I had. As you can see here, everything is primed. And I think that's mostly because this is where the wear and tear is going to be inside the airplane. And so I have a feeling that if I can at least get it primed, I'm still debating on whether or not I want to do the epoxy paint. I've listened to several others, and everybody swears by it. It holds up really well. and I might do that on the interior as well. I'm still not sure. So if you have any experience building, if you've done the interior portions of your build already, and you happen to watch this video, let me know. Drop a comment down below, and let me know what your thoughts are on that. As far as should I prime everything? Should I not worry about it? Should I put it all together and then paint everything? What was the easiest process? And if you left it in as a primer, did you put anything, a clear coat epoxy or anything on top of it to minimize any kind of scratching or anything? Because a lot of the comments against the rattle can primer is that it scratches really easy. My experience has been if I don't let it set, then I have it where it's flaked in a couple places. And yeah, if I grind something against it, sure, it's going to come up. It's that's the benefit of the epoxy paint. So like I said, if you have experience with that, let me know. Drop a line in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. It's the shop here. The one of the benefits that I have is that it is set up for a paint booth. There's a structure just above my head to where I can staple tarp and close it all in, and I can make my own paint booth. Now, I'll probably have to make an exhaust and all that through the garage door and whatnot, but it's at least set up in that regards. So that's something that I'm actually interested in doing, is at some point going through and doing my own painting on the surfaces and kind of see how that goes, and then maybe just do the base coat how I want it and then send it to a paint shop. This is obviously down the road. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm going. So what you see me doing here is putting I believe this is the aft rib together, or the bulkhead. It has you put everything, the primered portions, you put those together, and that the portion that's not primed there, that's just there to kind of square everything up. It tells you not to rivet that in place just yet. And that's just kind of make sure that everything's squared up and true as best you can when you're setting all these rivets. Again, going through all the same processes, getting everything prepared, deburring all the lightning holes and things like that. So nothing new here, but it is nice getting back into the rhythm of things. As I talked about in the intro there, we had the storms going on. Just life has been happening, but I'm fighting against that. And that's, it really is a true statement when they talk about it, that even if you can do 15 minutes, come out, work on it, and then oftentimes that will develop into an hour, and time goes by and you don't realize you got quite a bit done. So really, it really is a big deal. If you can just do that 15 minutes a day, then it'll be great. So this right here is a good up close shot of that aft wing attach point. This is just attached to the bulkhead here, and you have to get a reamer. I think it's 0.311 inch reamer. And that's part of this whole process. It does get kind of frustrating at sometimes, is that it just springs on, hey, you need this, by the way, and oh, okay, now I've got to wait a few days while I wait for that to come in before I can finish this step. So this has been one of them where it just measures, hey, you got to ream this. So there's 4 holes on each, the left and right side. Ream all 4 holes for those bolts, and then they're AN5s, I believe, which I ended up, what I'm doing here is torquing them down to around 135 inch-pounds or inch-pounds. And what I do afterwards is you'll see me apply, it's a yellow torque. I call it goop. It's just basically, it tells you if that bolt has come free, that yellow goop will dry up, but then it'll break if that bolt has come off or has released a little bit. So that's kind of where everything is at. Again, getting back into this, really enjoying it. Thanks for following, for those of you who have. If you're new to this channel, subscribe, and we'll see what's going on next. We'll see you next time.